we're going to learn how to use the order of operations. Let me go over several things. What are the operations? In mathematics, there's 4 of them: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Why do we need the order of operations? Well, we want to get the same answer when we evaluate an expression. If we all did our own method, we would get different answers. What is the process for the order of operations? Well, we have to follow an exact order. So here's the order we're going to follow. Step 1, evaluate parentheses. Step 2, evaluate the exponents. Step 3, multiplication or division. And this symbol here means that we could actually do division first before multiplication, depending on what appears first in the problem. So the same way you read from left to right, well, we scan the problem from left to right. And if we happen to see division first, then we divide. If I see multiplication first, then I'll multiply. Similarly, step 4 is addition or subtraction. And you may have learned the order of operations with the acronym PEMDAS, such that you would follow that order, except that I modified it because I believe that most people assume there are 6 steps to it, except that there's really 4 steps. And you can see here that we're going to do parentheses first, exponent second. The third step is multiply or divide, and the fourth step is add or subtract. So let's see how this looks. Here we have to evaluate the following expression. So one thing that I usually do before I actually start evaluating the expression is I write a little reminder for myself somewhere on my paper. So it'll look something like that. The 4 steps, and I use that as a little checklist as I do my problem. So let's begin. Step 1 says to evaluate parentheses. So I look at the problem. If there are parentheses, I'm going to do that first. So I do have some parentheses here. So I'm going to do the operations involved in here. So here we have 3 minus 1. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just copy the rest as is. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. Then I bring down the rest as is. So step 1 was parentheses. I simplified it and I got 2. There's nothing else I can do with this. There's no other addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division in here. Therefore, step 1 is complete. Then I move on to step 2, which is evaluate the exponents. So I do have exponents here. I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to copy everything else the same way. And I can see 2 to the second power means I'm going to do 2 times itself twice. And then I get 4. How did I know this is multiplication? Well, in mathematics, if you have a number next to a set of parentheses like this, and there's no addition, subtraction, or division sign, we know it means multiplication. So if you want, ahead of time, you can put the multiplication symbol in there. And then I'm going to bring down the rest. So I took care of my exponents. I put a check. Step 3 is to evaluate the operations multiplication or division. So whichever one appears first. So as I scan my problem from left to right, I pay attention to the operations. Here I have subtraction. Here I have multiplication. So therefore, I'm going to do that first. So 20 minus 16, and then bring down the rest, plus 9 divided by 3. And then again, from left to right, I'm going to scan for multiplication or division. Here I have subtraction, addition, division. So that's the next step. So I get 20 minus 16 plus 3. So step 3, I can see is complete. There's no more multiplication or division. What's left is step 4, add or subtract. So when I scan from left to right, I have subtraction, meaning I have to do this first. 20 minus 16 is 4, and bring down the rest, plus 3. And the only operation left is addition, so I just simply carry that out and I get 7. So step 4 is complete. I followed the order of operations in the exact order, and I got my final answer of 7. Now let's look at this next problem. Similar to the first problem, except that I just modified it such that I'm dividing by another expression here. So it's possible you may have something like this. And what you're going to do is similar to the first one. You're going to rewrite it in the corner. So I have a little checklist handy so you know what you're going to be doing to keep track of it. And what we're going to do is apply the order of operations to the numerator and apply the order of operations to the denominator. So we're just going to evaluate each one separately using the 4 steps. So if I did all the work out for the numerator, which I actually did in the previous slide, to save some time, I'm going to write down the final answer. We ended up getting 7 for the numerator. And now I'm going to apply the order of operations to my denominator. So I can see here I have subtraction or multiplication. And I can see that in my parentheses, there's no operation. So step 1 is actually complete. There are no exponents. So I know that is complete. Step 3 wants to evaluate multiplication or division. I do have multiplication. So I'm going to bring down the rest, 3 minus, and then 4 times 2, I get 8. So that's all set, and the only operation left is addition or subtraction. So we have subtraction left. So I would put 7 over 3 minus 8, I get negative 5. So now that I applied the order of operations to the numerator, and then I applied it to the denominator, so again you're doing them separately, then you're going to take into account the fraction bar, or which is division. So if you could divide out the two numbers, you divide it. Otherwise, if you can't, you just simplify the fraction. And I can see here 7 over negative 5 is already simplified. Therefore, that would be my final answer. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe.